So let's see how we can solve this. We can start by defining our rows and columns because that comes very handy. And then let's define our queue. Since for adjacent sides, we will need our direction. So let's define that as well. So this will be left, right, top, bottom. And now let's define our time, which we will increment. Now let's define the fresh, which will help us to track the number of fresh oranges. So now if oranges are fresh, that is element is 1, we can increment our fresh. If our oranges are rotten, we will just enqueue this. So now let's run our while loop while our queue is not empty and we have fresh oranges. And now we want to pop all of the elements which are in our queue, and at the same time we want to mark the adjacent element as rotten. So let's do that. Let's pop now, and now let's mark adjacent elements as rotten. So we'll loop over our directions, and now let's write the base case, all of the out of bound cases, right, left, top, bottom. And if our grid is 1, that means if it's fresh, then we will mark it as rotten and push this to our queue. And we have to decrement our fresh ones. And outside our for loop, we have to increase our time because one cycle of our while loop increments 1 unit of time. Now, while returning, if our fresh equal to 0, then we have to return time, or else we would return -1. This is our BFS solution. So let's try to run it. I made a mistake. So as in when we are trying to add the elements, the queue length changes. That's where we need to define it beforehand so that it does not break and our loop runs regardless of the changing size. So let's do that. Now let's try to submit it. Yes, this works. Hope you found this valuable. If yes, you can consider subscribing to the channel. And thank you so much for watching.